I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
What did you say?
Hey,
What
fuckface.
what did you say?
You need to remember
What do I need to remember?
that we're motherfucking professionals.
Yeah. we've been doing this for like 8 years.
Oh boy,
Isn't that weird?
that's a
Isn't that
long
weird?
time, partner.
Is it weird though? Are you surprised?
Am I surprised that we have listeners? You're goddamn right. Am I surprised that?
Are you?
Am I surprised that?
I mean, across the board, we probably had something along the lines of like, I don't know, like 200 listens this last week.
But look here. Here's the deal. All right.
Something like that across all platforms, across fucking everything: YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes.
That sounds
Spotify.
That sounds like something posted in a fan fiction on Reddit. That many viewers. Oh my.
I mean, it's I'm humble. I'm humble about it. I appreciate that there is a very small audience that appreciates it, that sees the purpose of it,
And
agrees to it,
yeah,
is found agreeable.
I can't imagine anyone would just sit down and let them get taken by this podcast.
Many have.
What?
Many have. We have claimed many.
Well.
Someone, Frowns, you need to let this sink in for a second.
All right. Yeah.
Someone who found us online.
Yes.
Who lives on the other side of the fucking planet.
All right.
Came to America.
Oh, that's a...
And stopped by here.
Yeah.
To party with us over Halloween. Just because I have talked it up. And our culture. And the experience of horror. On this podcast with so many different people, including you. She's like your number one fan.
But that's impossible because I'm my number one fan.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And that's why you gotta subscribe to my OnlyFans. I'm so fucking tired.
This is a shout out to Kitty. That's a shout out to Kitty.
Listen, I put out quality content on that OnlyFans. And I think that people...
Hallelujah.
And I think...
Oh, Lord.
I think... You need to subscribe for $9.99 a month.
Ding, 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 motherfucker.
$9.99. I've been jerking off for, I guess, myself this whole time. Where have they all been?
You have.
Yeah, listen... How come you ain't up in that Facebook group saying, we want more Frowns? Oh my god, Frowns is so hot. Where's all that? Where's the support for Frowns?
The public discourse is minimum at best. We have listeners, but that's it.
But that's it. We've got listeners.
A lot of people I know that give us likes.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's appreciated.
Yeah.
But the public discourse online, the commentary is minimal. I think every once in a while we get something on YouTube somewhere in the hundreds, someone saying this was a really good read through or this was really fun. Something along those lines. That happens like once a year.
Yeah. Good read-throughs. Well, that's not what you're here for tonight. Not with Frowns in the room. You're gonna get one of the worst reads you've ever fucking gotten.
I don't know about that.
All my women are gonna sound exactly the same.
I don't know about that.
And, you know, maybe we'll have a special guest come by. I have to reach out to my contacts. It's been so long.
If only.
Maybe I can get
only.
Medea, but I gotta call Tyler Perry first.
They gotta stop by this holiday season.
Hitler!
Are you usually used to me telling you no, that you're not allowed these things? Because I'm here for it right now.
Oh.
I'm here for the bad Asian accent.
That one might still be.
Okay, that one might be.
That one might be no good.
Can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
There was a point earlier today where, when the prospect of recording came to fruition, I was looking up troll pastas because I kind of wanted to read something dumb.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not find any. They were all pretty bad.
And also,
I think the closest one I could have found was called "The Night Jack Skellington Attacked."
As a troll pasta?
Yeah, and I have a feeling that it's I don't know. It's just bad. It's just Jack Skellington attacking some kid or something. Kind of like the perspective of a kid from the movie.
He just pops up in pops up in the room.
In a Santa Claus outfit, pops up into your room and leaves a toy that's going to try to kill you.
And then he goes, "What's this?" He starts stabbing the kid.
Stabbing your dad. Your dad tries to defend you and he gets eaten by a snake, you know? Something cool like that.
Take my skeleton dick. Take it. Take it, Dad.
You can't just say that. Oh, man, I wasn't ready for that.
But you know
that
what
one knocked the wind out of me.
But you know what you are ready for?
That one knocked the wind out of me.
You know what you are ready for? Because guess what? It's Christmas!
Shit.
Guys, this is actually the Christmas episode.
We're doing...
Or holidays, because I don't want to get canceled.
We're going to do the 12 Days of Christmas. This is the 12... No, I didn't mean to say that. I hate that song. We're going to do the 12 episodes of Christmas. So here's what I want people to do. Now, can you believe that this is our 12th
I
Christmas
can't believe
episode?
that it's Christmas.
It's not... I don't think it's your 12th Christmas episode.
No.
But it is the podcast's 12th Christmas
I mean,
episode.
I've been here for most of them, so...
You have. I think I only did one without you.
And
or maybe you were there, but we just also had someone else. Was
and
that 1 or 2 years? Maybe 2 years. Maybe 2 years.
Maybe 69 years.
But here's what I want people to do now that this is the 12th Christmas episode. From the 12 days to Christmas, I want you to listen to all 12 of our Christmas episodes. But I want you to go backwards in order, because it becomes more of a shit show the earlier you go back. Right now, we're at least cognizant.
Yeah.
We're mindful, ready to read a story. Back then, we were so elevated that we would break out into fits and stop reading and just laugh for several minutes at a time.
I mean, who doesn't like a little elevation?
Agreed.
Yeah, that's right.
Agreed.
Hit me with it.
But at the same time, there is a difference. There's a difference between it. There's a difference when you listen to those first, I want to say, 30 episodes of the show.
You're gonna feel elevation in your pants.
There's something going on there, and it's not quite good, but it's there.
But it could become good.
I mean, there are aspects of it that are, the stories we read are certainly good.
Yeah, but are we good?
I'm talking about the quality of us and our reading ability. Maybe not so much.
But listen, you know what? We all gotta start somewhere. Even Ronald was a burger flipper at one point.
Who the fuck's Ronald?
McDonald's.
Oh shit.
Even he would flip. Grimace was working the fryer. And now he's killing people with his milkshake.
Did you try it?
No, because I didn't want to die.
I did.
Well, that's why you're
It's
Captain
not, it's
Death.
not. It's not because I want to die, though.
Fuck.
I tried it because I literally said, "Hey, that sounds pretty good." Someone said it's like a fruity pebble cotton candy type of thing.
No,
It's like that's the kind of the taste.
that sounds terrible. I fucking yeah. Well, let's go. Keep going.
I kind of liked it.
Okay. But
I kind of liked it.
But you died because that's why you're Captain Death.
You know what?
Grimace is bad man.
You know what?
He's a bad little purple nugget.
You're right. Wasn't that revealed? That he was like a moldy nugget or some shit?
He is an amalgamation of all the poor little nuggets that fell behind the fryer. And then
Is that true? Is that canon?
And then do you remember the Disney movie where there's a monster under my bed and the purple the guy had turned purple and a weird.
Yep.
He took all the nuggies and took them into his purple swamp, and he brought him out. He was like, ah! And then he molded with the purple nuggets, and he turned into Grimace. Grimace was like,
I like that part.
And Grimace breaks character. Ooh, why the fuck am I on a Disney set? And then they were like, you hired Grimace. And he said, I don't want to work in Hollywood. I'm going to go work for McDonald's. And then he comes back to Ronald, and Ronald's like, my boy. Because at that point, he had already worked his way up to general manager of that establishment.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So now Grimace is going to be his assistant manager. Don't ask me where the duck comes in.
Yeah.
There's that duck bitch.
Where's the Hamburglar fit in this scenario?
Well, he has to elevate from he has to elevate from being the general manager to the district manager, and then
natural evolution.
Yeah, and then
ride the ladder
corporate train,
the ladder of the industry,
and then Grimace becomes the general manager. The crazy duck bitch takes over the fryer, and then for some reason the green dinosaur from Barney's
deal?
there. Oh, I don't know. She was.
What
she
did
was
you
a
just
duck.
say? Something about Barney? What did you just say?
That's when McDonald's and Barney have their first crossover.
Is this a multiverse?
And then
are you doing a multiverse?
I've got a 10-part plan for Marvel. And then
involving Ronald McDonald.
And then the green dinosaur from Barney comes in and she works the register. And then Ronald, as the DM, hears about a chain of burglars that are happening at fast food restaurants. And then the hamburger.
Is this hard boiled?
It's Sunny Side Up.
No, does Ronald just like at one point just pull out Uzis?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're full of ketchup and mustard.
Great.
And then the Hamburglar breaks in. Let me explain. Hamburglar breaks into the restaurant and then goes. He tries one of the burgers, but it was the first burger that actually made him feel alive. And then he called the DM, Ronald, and was like, I don't know what I can do for you, but your burger has changed my life, and I will do anything you ask of me. I am your servant. And then that's when he would go steal formulas from other restaurants for Ronald. This has been a quite fascinating 14 minutes intro. How long's it been since I've been on a show?
Probably like a year. I don't know. The last Christmas episode. So like a year.
Wow, man. I'm well,
like a year.
I mean, listen.
Hey, you.
I'm here, and it's queer.
You put in your time a long time ago. You still have the most episodes out of anyone.
I pounded that pavement real hard.
You being a little distant, shall we say, is just a physical obstruction.
Unfortunately.
It is nothing more than a physical obstruction.
It's not an erection.
We make time, like we made time tonight, to record an episode because we need to at least record one episode together a year.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually ends up being a Christmas episode. There's something funny about that, and I think it's because it's like its own series for you. Like I think you're the only person I've done all of them with. And we're on the 12th one. I don't think I've done a series with anyone else that has lasted 12 episodes. And I'm not going to call it like a series, like, you definitely can't skip between different episodes, not all of them. There was that time we read like a 4-part story for one Christmas. And that's why there's been like 12 fucking episodes, because there have been we've done like 2 episodes for Christmas before, 4 episodes for Christmas before.
And that's the magic of Lotsa pasta. Or, if you're vegetarian and work for a finance group, cocaine pasta.
Fair.
Or,
fair.
Maybe Quaalude pasta. Or, maybe Crystal Mary Meth Mess.
Exactly.
Pasta.
You took the words right out of my mouth. And you know, the funny thing about words is there's also words.
The funny thing about
right here.
Oh my god! I see a funny little story right in front of me. I don't know about you, but I see a funny story.
It's a quick one. Do you want to take it?
And if you like double penetration, you'll love this holiday slutty story called Stocking Stuffers.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
I bet I know what you could stuff in there.
This is a creepypasta.
Oh. Not kind of the tone we want to start with. Okay.
Stocking stuffers. You know, my mom and my dad, they put like underwear and socks and deodorant and toothpaste. You know, maybe a candy indulgence. But you know, it's just a very simple, like, wellness kit. That's my adult stocking.
Oh.
Do you get a stocking?
If I had a stocking with semi-glutide in it and about $100 worth of gift cards to Whole Foods,
where are you going with this?
and a $5,000 bill.
What the fuck are you saying? All right, I need to retract an earlier statement where I said that if you go back to the first or second Christmas episode we ever recorded, we would just break out into intermittent bouts of laughter.
Yeah.
Because we were high.
Mm-hmm.
We
were elevated.
We're apparently still there.
We were.
So you know what?
We were.
So you know what? Nothing has changed in 8 years.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
So, what are you stuffing in your stocking this year?
It's a creepypasta.
Yum, yum. I can't wait to eat up the creepypasta. Because even though this is a Christmas episode, we're technically celebrating Halloween. And who doesn't love...
No, don't say that.
And
they don't need to know that.
Okay, retract it. Just go back like 20 seconds. Wow.
Well, now I need to keep it because it's funny. All right.
Wow. Oh, guys. All right. I'm fine.
Wait, are you saying that you want to read this?
I thought you said...
You want to read
no,
this?
you could read it.
No, I'm asking.
I thought
Were you planning on reading it?
It doesn't have my name, so no.
Oh, it doesn't need to have
You
your
tend
name.
to put Do you fucking want to read this one, or do you want me to read this one?
From how you read the title, I feel like you should read this one. Because you had a thing going.
My sensual?
I mean, am I giving you permission? Kind of, but I'm also asking you to reel it in a little bit and read the story.
Oh. What? You want me to reel it in for the story, and then just keep this as something in between stories?
Stocking stuffers.
Alright. Ooh. Let me in. I couldn't even do it.
Let me in now.
And it
could
be nice.
Make me go now.
And I'll come not once,
not twice, but as many times as
I like.
Just for the record, I hate long legs.
Just for the record, I love it.
But I respect this man's opinion, and I will sing that song with him.
You're just mad because you don't got long legs.
Let me very shortly summarize.
No, we got it. No.
Let me just say. Let me just say it.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Nicolas Cage. The reason I dislike that movie has nothing to do with Nicolas Cage. His performance is fine. The writing itself is okay. My problems do not lie with that. My problems just lie with the editing, the plot, the act structure. Just very literal things. And it's just a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
I understand that this is actually a very divisive movie. There's a very loud majority of people saying this movie is great. This movie lived up to the hype. You know, you are in that camp. I am in the camp that said the marketing was so good I was expecting something else, and then everyone kept hyping it up to be like something else, and when it wasn't, I was disappointed. And then the literal third act of the movie just disappointed me. Everything in the first act, great. Everything about Nicolas Cage in the first act, cool. There was some good moments. It started off good. But just to, very quickly explain the difference of opinion here. I do think people should watch it. I just would say I understand if it's just okay, or if it's a little bit of both. And you could also love it. That's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong.
A little bit of chicken fry. Stick it in like a stocking stuffers on a Friday night. All right, I'm ready. I'm going to do it. Bring it home.
Are you reading?
Yeah.
Okay.
The story is tall.
Yep.
Take two.
Stocking
The
stuffers.
The story is called Stocking Stuffers.
Stocking stuffers.
Stocking Stuffers.
There you go. There are the words. There are the words on the page, right? Right there. Right? Can you see him? Can you see him?
I could see them. It was just talking. That was the problem.
Stocking. Stocking.
All right.
Stock.
I get it. I get it. I
Stocking.
get it. You don't have to say it. Stocking stuffers. I get it. But forming words right now is a little rough, alright? Don't put me on the spot.
That's why I asked if you want me to take it.
No! Let me do it. Fucker! Alright. Oh.
Do you need a second?
Greetings, Stuffers. The thing about Christmas is that you have to choose very carefully what you want and never regret it. My family wasn't poor, but couldn't be called wealthy, so most of the Christmas ornaments and decorations we had were improvised. We had a pine tree made out of empty beer cans, a snowman made out of paper plates, and the star was a flower. What can I say? We worked with what we had. I don't remember much of my father, only that he was mumbling words in his room. I could only hear him during Christmas, and even then he would only come out and sit on his chair. I never saw him eat anything.
Hell yeah.
My mother had a lot of experience knitting. She used to knit all day long, but she never did the usual stuff like gloves, socks, or scarves. She only made a long pile of nothing in particular,
Hell yeah.
with no colors in particular. I don't know why she had so much wool, but she never ever talked. That's why the time she gifted me with a pair of stockings was like a miracle.
Oh shit.
I also can't remember seeing her eating anything.
Okay.
Because they're wool piles.
The parents?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
They're just piles of wool with googly eyes on them.
Very cool.
They're cool. The stockings were my favorite thing out of everything I ever had. A combination of red and white, so wonderful, so unreal. I was proud of them, and they were proud of me. Every Christmas Eve in the morning, the stockings were full of the most delicious candies I'd ever tasted. I wish I had shared them with somebody, but I couldn't. I'm an only child, and my mom had better things to knit. Not a single word to me or to anybody, and my dad would be in his chair. No words either. What can I say? I was feeling alone. I never had an interest of studying, having a job, nor a family, because I lived with two mannequins in a constant silence with no inspiration.
You weren't far off.
I'm a pile of wool with googly eyes.
I do think yours is more creative.
That's why I can't talk, bitch.
It would be really funny if it's just like this pile of wool. It's just like, here's some socks. And this kid was like,
With these
oh my fucking god, I love these things.
huge googly
I
eyes.
fucking love these socks, dude.
Same, bruh. Finna nut. I just wanted a normal, proper Christmas with my family, so I started working hard for it. I said I never had interest on getting a job, but I did have one. And with the little money I had, I began collecting little things for the occasion. I began by buying a proper tree. Then I bought some proper lights to dress it. And I bought some red paint. I bought some fancy trees and candles, lots and lots and lots of candies. And not just any kind, but my favorite type. The day arrived, so with great joy, I started decorating the house. It took me a long, long time. But patience awards, and the 24th of the last month I saw my work. The tree was in a perfect spot. None of the lights were misbehaving. The presents were like from an old advertising. But there was something missing. The stockings. But my old stupid wool socks would look stupid in this perfect home. I need you to continue thinking for the rest of this story. The parents are piles of wool with
I
googly eyes.
agree, yeah.
Okay. I turned around and smiled at my parents. Would you two mind helping me? No response.
Fucking typical.
Fucking
Say it.
You both look so pale and thin. They were indeed pale. A paper white pale, and so fragile. But I wasn't going to stop here. I grabbed the red paint and carefully gave them a better look. No joke. I was truly careful. But they still looked like their lips had never met the word food. So I gave them one of my candies. But promise you'll eat properly the dinner night, all right? It was Sunday, December 25th. I was resting from all the hard work. I was so proud. The sight of my parents hanging over the chimney was an experience. So red and loaded with candy, I giggled just a bit. I love you both. You know that, right? We love you too, they answered. Silly me. I forgot that the Stuffers wouldn't let them talk.
Couple of stocking stuffers.
They were fucking piles of wool! With an internal monologue of the guy from Big Mouth.
Which one?
Marty. The inner dialogue is Marty.
The sex...
No.
Sex monster? What are you...
Oh, Andrew! You're such a disappointment!
Oh!
You pervert!
Yeah. What'd you think of that story?
It fucking sucked.
Did it?
They were piles
Did it?
of wool.
Did it actually suck? Okay. Alright, well, I'll read this next one then. Maybe this one won't suck.
What? Well, why did you like the other one?
I don't know. It was just like a psycho telling a story.
They were dead?
Psycho killed their parents and called them mannequins. But really, they were just dead bodies, and he stuffed them with candy and hung them over the fire on Christmas morning, like a couple of stockings.
And
it's pretty fucked up.
It's also fucked up because...
But it's like Eli Roth fucked up.
They're wool.
Okay, I'm gonna read this.
I'm ready. What is the fucking title?
This is a fun one. This is a fun title.
Oh, I'm ready to have some fun.
The company I work for has a wonderful Christmas tradition
of not giving your employees their bonus.
We've all been there.
Yes.
At my company's annual Christmas party, there's always a table full of presents. One of the presents is extra special. We just don't know which one. At this year's party, there were about 300 employees gathered in the event space on the first floor, far below the offices and boardrooms on the upper floors where the company typically does business. We've all been led inside and instructed to pick one of the nicely wrapped gifts off the table. This was no different from the year before or any of the years before that. I selected one at random. There was no point in trying to figure out which box held which gift, so I just grabbed something from the middle of the table. Last year, I unwrapped my gift to find a voucher for an all-expenses-paid ski vacation to Colorado. My wife, kids, and I had a great time. Another such gift would be greatly appreciated. Our CEO, Mr. Michael Jackson, was abnormally cheerful. But I suppose that was just the Christmas brandy kicking in. As the happy holiday banter fittered across the room, he stood on a platform and held up his arms to silence the crowd. Shambawada! And then waited for the excited chatter to recede. Ow! It was typical for him to place a high priority on brevity, and today was no different. Well, we've had yet another very successful year, he said, as drunken applause and enthusiastic hoots and hollers erupted from the crowd. He paused a moment to let everyone quiet down, and through the smile on his face, he showed that he was enjoying the festive atmosphere. Sales are up 125% over the last year. Complaints are down to historically low levels. It's safe to say that this year we've been firing on all cylinders. And Newsweek even named us among the top 50 most ethical companies in the United States. We all applauded loudly. at that.
No, that's ignorant. You're being ignorant.
That's right.
Stop.
Mr. Michael Jackson took a moment to soak in all the adulation and then continued as he looked out to the crowd. And while we owe most of our success to you, the employee, let's not forget the good luck and fortune that's granted upon each year by our benefactor. The clapping continued. I looked around the room. The long-term employees seemed to be the happiest, and in fact, even most of the new employees seemed pretty happy as well. There were, however, a couple of first-year employees who appeared to be a bit fidgety. And now let's get to the reason why we're all here, Mr. Michael Jackson said. The gifts. I hope you all find enjoyment from them. Mr. Michael Jackson stepped down from the platform as we all looked down at the boxes in our hands. The tradition in the company is that the lower-level employees start opening their gifts first, followed by supervisors, and then managers. Even Mr. Michael Jackson gets a gift that he must open.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's ignorant.
The sound of wrapping paper being ripped from the boxes spread across the room as the employees anxiously tore into their gifts. Next to me, a young first-year sales associate opened his box, and I saw a huge smile of relief spread across his face as he reached inside and pulled out a brand new Rolex Explorer.
Oh, wow, what a nice watch.
I said to him, and he gave a big, goofy smile as he slipped it onto his wrist. And right across from me, I watched another newbie pull out a key to brand new Mercedes.
Nice,
I shouted to her. She looked around excitedly.
It'll be parked out front,
I told her. I knew this from experience, since I too was gifted a car several years ago. And soon all the lower-level employees had opened their gifts, and the supervisors started in on theirs, and I began to carefully unwrap mine. And I'll admit, at the moment I was scared. I spent my entire year feeling great, but every year those few seconds I spend opening my gifts seems like they'll go on for an hour. And as I lifted the lid from the box, I was happy to find a stack of cash inside. Can't go wrong with cash, I thought. I flipped through the stack to get a quick estimate of its value, and it was probably about $5,000. It was right about then that I heard someone scream. I turned around to see Shirley, one of my fellow supervisors, holding an empty box in one hand, and in the other hand she held the plain rock she'd just pulled out of it. "No," she said. "This isn't the box I wanted. I wanted to get that one, over there." She dropped her box and pointed to the lady who had been gifted the Mercedes. "But she grabbed it before I could get it." People around her shook their heads in disappointment.
Shirley,
I said to her in a low tone.
Try to be a little more dignified.
Shirley dropped the rock. It clattered on the ground as those around her began to step back, slowly. "No, I won't be more dignified. This isn't fair." I have to admit, I was a bit disappointed with Shirley's reaction. She'd worked there long enough to know better than to pitch a fit. Most people who end up with the rock accept the situation graciously. And some even give a brief thank you speech while they're still able. Shirley, she was still complaining, as she was just jerked into the air by some unseen force. She levitated a few feet off the ground as her body began to smolder. Smoke spilled out from the neckline of her blouse. Her hair began singeing at its tips and then burned all the way down to her scalp. Her eyes burst open, spattering vitrea over her nearby coworkers, and dark smoke began spewing from her mouth as her body slowly turned to ash, with the effect starting at her feet and working its way up to her head. And after a long minute, Shirley was no more than a pile of slag on the ground. I'm going to miss Shirley. It's true that she didn't handle herself in a dignified manner when it mattered most, but She was a friendly co-worker and damn good at her job. However, success and the finer things that accompany it don't come without some sort of sacrifice. And a sacrifice must be given every year. For those of you worried about Shirley, don't be. Her husband and her children will be well compensated for their loss. After all, the company is incredibly successful and has plenty of money to throw around. And with our powerful benefactor continuing to look out for us, we're destined to have yet another banner year. Anyway, if anyone's looking for a job, we have an opening at the supervisory level. Prior supervisory experience is helpful, but not absolutely essential. The job offers fantastic compensation and unheard of benefits package, year-long perks, and, of course, an absolutely killer annual Christmas party, which is not to be missed.
That was a cool story.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. I liked it way more than stupid stocking stuff.
Yours was a little bit, yours was a little Eli Roth, a little James Wan. Mine was a little more, I don't know.
A little bit of
M. Night
Monica
Shyamalan
in my story.
M. Night Shyamalan, a little Jordan Peele, a little I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know what I'm trying to say. Okay, next story.
Hunger
this
Games.
was pretty fun. What did you just say?
Everybody wants to rule the world. Did you know my name is Lord? 'Cause I am a Lord.
No.
You didn't know that?
I
How did
didn't.
you not?
I
How
was
did you
not aware of
fucking
that.
not? You know what, man? Fuck you. Pennsylvania's changed you. Bubbly has changed you.
Bubbly? The fact that I've turned to sparkling beverages because I can't drink soda anymore and I miss it.
Gatorade Fierce has changed you.
Nah, Gatorade's fine. Electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Electrolytes.
Having feet definitely changed you. Do you remember what
For
it
the
was like
worse.
before you had feet?
Dude,
You would
There
masturbate
was-
with your hands.
there was a time in my life where I never gave my feet a second fucking thought.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't exist. They were just the bottom of my body. And then I got old, and my ankles gave up on me.
Mm.
And
That's the gospel truth. Uh-huh. Who put the pain inside my ankle? Hercules.
why?
'Cause it's funny.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want this one or do you want the next one? I guess I didn't show you the titles. I could show you the titles if you want to like pick which one you read next. That's the list, and we can't do the first four, so it has to be one of these four.
Which one have you read them all?
No, I haven't read any of them.
I want to do.
There's the Carolers.
Yeah, I'll do
If you hear sleigh bells, the naughty list, or occupied chimney.
that. You already had Carolers highlighted. Let's just do that one.
Okay, you will do the Carolers. I liked the idea of this one. It reads like an SCP,
Okay.
like a Christmas Slender Man. What fucking page was it? Oh, okay. yes. The Carolers.
Hark how the carols, sweet silver carols, all seem to say, throw carols away.
Very good.
Thanks. I'll be here until Monday. The Carolers. The following is a written account of the oral tradition of the Carolers phenomena.
Dun dun.
There are no known region or time frame of origin in regard to this tradition. Rather, this written account will pull folklore, urban myth, and eyewitness accounts from a variety of places and times.
I'm here for it.
These are their stories. Dun dun. The Carolers, sometimes referred to as the Wassailers.
Sure.
Is it German?
Sure.
The Carolers, sometimes referred to as the Wassailers, is a phenomenon that occurs predominantly during the month of December. However, some reports suggest that occurrences in late November and early January have also been recorded. The phenomenon appears to be supernatural in origin, and there appears to be no certain way to trigger the occurrence. However, every eyewitness to the apparitions has had one crucial similarity. All of those who had been visited by the Carolers had recently donated clothing to a local charity or drive, with only minor exceptions. Given the seasonal timing of the occurrence, surrounding or on the Christmas holiday, the clothing in question is often wintertime outerwear, including but not limited to jackets, coats, sweaters, vests, mittens, gloves, scarves, beanies, bonnets, earmuffs, snow boots, and other assorted cold weather attire.
Damn.
Additionally, it should be noted that while every eyewitness of the phenomenon had recently donated such apparel, not every donor was visited by the apparitions, though it is still uncertain why this is the case. According to the varying legends and the mouths of those who allegedly had seen the Carolers, the apparitions would appear sometime after the donation had taken place, always at night, and on nights where temperature was considerably low, often snowing and, in some instances, below zero. While the timing of the appearances could vary from location to location, many Caroler sightings would occur during the middle of the night, around midnight to 3 in the morning.
It's that time right now.
Oh no!
Oh, the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say,
Vamos! We must get out of the house!
The sailors!
The
sailors have come!
They have come for the Bupenhypen.
They've come for us.
The Scheisse table.
No, they can't take the Scheisse
table.
No!
How will we supply IKEA?
No!
No!
Alright.
Eyewitnesses would describe hearing a faint, nearly inaudible sound upon waking from their slumbers. After some moments would pass, this sound would rise considerably in volume and become unintelligible, though muffled. As described, the growing sound was that of either a voice of several, depending on the quantity of clothing articles donated prior. The voices were often described as angelic or otherworldly, and would reportedly be heard singing Christmas carols from outside the home. Hence, the phenomenon is referred to as the Carolers.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty creepy.
It's a little spooky.
It's a little spooky. I certainly would not like a bunch of shadow people singing to me in the middle of the night. I would certainly not be okay with that.
Well, what if they were hot, sexy, and naked
They're
men?
not.
Well, that's a shame.
No. Oh.
Hunk how the bells, sweet. Hunk how the balls, sweet silver balls, all seem to say,
yeah, there you
gaggle, gaggle, I'm gay.
There you go. Very good. When are you releasing your Christmas album?
Wouldn't you like to suck on all my pee? As such, the following list catalogs every known song reportedly sung by the apparitions, although the catalog is incomplete and consistently being updated as new sightings occur and new songbooks, music sheets are discovered. Here We Come A-Caroling, Silent Night, Good King Wenceslas, Adestus Fidelis, It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, God rest ye merry gentlemen. God rest ye merry gentlemen. Angels we have heard on high. Coventry Carol. We three kings. In the bleak midwinter. And the little drummer boy.
I don't like half of those. Half of those would be genuinely creepy to hear people singing late at night.
Oh, yeah.
I would not like this. I'm going to go on the record. This might be one of the creepiest stories we've ever read on Christmas.
Let's see if that
I
holds
really
true.
don't like that idea of a phenomenon of... You know what's even weirder about it is I was recently going to make a donation run. Because we have stuff here that I need to get rid of. That I don't feel like just throwing away. I feel like donating it.
Wouldn't you like to have ghostly apparitions appear at your house and whistle into your butthole? Sweets?
No!
Well, you're fucked.
Certainly not. I'm going to delay... No, wait. It's actually Halloween. It's not Christmas. I don't need to worry about carolers showing up. I can go now. If anyone shows up, it's going to be spooky kids and ghosts, and I'm okay with that.
And they're going to say, trick or treat. And you're going to say, wow. What
I'm
is
going to say, here's some candy.
Here's some candy. And then the parents going to go,
Here's some candy.
Well, bang, okay?
No.
Meet me back at the candy
You can't
castle.
say that.
Well, bang, okay?
You can't say that.
Why?
Because we were talking about children.
Liara.
Well, bang, okay?
Well, bang, okay?
Miranda, you get your ass on that ship.
Shepherd.
Well, bang, okay?
Show Shepherd your tits, and then show them to Garrus. Garrus is bro. Back to work. Upon hearing any of these carols, or any undocumented ones not aforementioned, many of those who encountered the phenomenon would follow its sound to the point of origin, typically outside the home's or apartment's front door, where the witness in question would see what appeared to be the clothing that they had donated prior, suspended in the air and seemingly worn by an invisible persons, with a sound emanating from where the mouth should be.
I don't like that.
Often beneath a beanie or somewhere within the hooded coat. Upon the completion of the carol, these garments would then drop to the ground, and the phenomenon would end.
Okay, that's not as bad. If I just have to listen... What if the song is good? What if the song is pretty? You know, what if they did a banging rendition of We Three Kings? I might actually be into that.
It's a good one.
That might be my favorite Christmas song.
We three cucks, Orient are, sitting in the corner from our wives afar. No. No. Do I sound like I have a sort of robotic voice?
You sound like someone who's reading for Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh boy. Yeah. I could do a mean Stephen Hawking. Yes. I'm coming. Here is cab fare. With the exception of a large family of 8 from Nebraska, most sightings of the apertures consisted of anywhere from 1 to 6 carolers outside the front door, with an average of being 3. Due to the nature of typical clothing donations and drives, the outfits worn by the apparitions were often incomplete, and some being merely scarves 4 feet off the ground. To others, often visitors of a more generous benefactors, being fully bundled, with the exception of the face, any and all appearances of the carolers' phenomenon, despite differences in attire or the amount thereof, behaved in a similar fashion. The apparitions would appear, sing, and depart, with only a few rare exceptions that will be listed below.
Okay.
Mary Thomas, a 68-year-old woman from Des Plaines, Illinois.
Des Plaines,
Illinois, is the only recorded individual visited by the carolers who did not report the sighting herself. Rather, the sighting, though not confirmed to have been the carolers, but highly likely, was made by a neighbor who claimed that they had heard a loud banging sound sometime around 2:30 a.m. during the morning of December 23rd, 1988. Upon donning a robe and heading over to the Thompson residence, the neighbor discovered that the front door to be wide open, a pile of old clothes littering the front porch, and Mary Thomas's body lying on the hallway rug. Thomas had suffered a heart attack sometime between 2 in the morning and when her neighbor had found her. Months prior, Thomas had surgically received a stent in her heart, and because of the outpouring of donations on her behalf and weight loss due to her health condition, decided to give much of her old clothing to a local charity for the holidays. Much of that clothing was discovered on Thomas's front porch that very morning.
Damn.
Eric Anderson, a 32-year-old from Liverpool, England, was declared legally dead in 2007 after being considered a missing person for 7 years. In the year 2000, after not returning to work for a period of 3 days, Anderson's apartment was visited by local police, who discovered not only was the home to be vacant, but there were no signs of forced entry or foul play present within. Instead, investigators were only left with an empty bed, Anderson's pajamas beneath the covers, and nothing to suggest that he had fled the premises. All of Anderson's clothes and suitcases were accounted for, and the wallet containing his ID and $600 in cash were retrieved on the nightstand. Though no official connection to the phenomenon has surfaced, Anderson's eventual obituary did describe him as a charitable man. Despite his claim, however, little evidence of such generosity was conveyed in Anderson's financial statements. Additionally, these statements never once suggested that Anderson had any children, nor was paying for any form of child support. Yet, in spite of this, 10 children's winter's garments were discovered surrounding Anderson's bed on the nightstand. On the night, the police investigated his disappearance. One of the earliest documented cases of the phenomenon occurring during the midnight mass of the Basilica of St. Luke in North Bay, Ontario on Christmas Eve in 1895 describes a candlelit service that ended with a choral rendition of Silent Night.
That one would probably creep me out.
As the first verse came to an end and the second began, the congregation within the small church heard a loud swell of voices that rattled the stained glass windows and surrounding the entire building. Many of those within ceased their singing, but according to a letter written from the basilica to a neighboring one, the heavenly host continued in their praises until the final word was uttered. When the voices had finished the song, many of the congregants in attendance, led by candlelight, made their way to the outside and then into the snowstorm that awaited them. Even those too fearful to trek beyond the warmth of the building rejoiced as the arms of their brothers and sisters in Christ carried bundles of blankets, hand-knitted sweaters, and other gifts from the Lord into the sanctuary.
Oh, I understand.
Many of these gifts would be distributed to the needy and poor following the Christmas morning, though, to this day, the origins of these articles remain a mystery. Many paranormal investigators and some religious scholars have concluded that if the claims of the phenomenon should be considered truthful, the carolers are mere harbingers who, rather than offer warnings for the future, offer gratitude for the past. However, others far more skeptical of purely goodwill beings of Yule suggest that the carolers, if they exist at all, may also serve as vengeful Christmas-time spirits.
Yeah, especially with the suspected pedophile was the middle one. A guy whose only his clothes were found in his bed, but there were children's outfits found outside his apartment.
Yeah.
Vengeful spirits, for sure. So don't diddle kids. Didn't feel like I had to say that. Feel like that one's a given.
You better watch, or Chris Hansen's going to come for you.
Why don't you just sit down for a second?
Why don't you just sit down?
How'd you have a seat?
No, you eat your pizza. We'll talk.
You mind if I grab a slice?
Mind if I stick it up your ass?
Alright, I'm going to read this one. This one sounds pretty fun.
If you've heard of Bussy Bell.
That's not... Nope. If you hear sleigh bells from Creepypasta,
or if you're vegetarian but also like having a good time, you want to eat some queen pasta, don't stop me now.
I was going to ask what you mean.
Because we're having a good time. Having a good time. Everybody come inside of my butthole.
Okay, come on.
And then give me the pasta.
If you hear sleigh bells,
Yeah, whatever.
run. I can't think of anything else to say other than run. But I guess for that to make sense, I'd have to go into detail about what happened 10 years ago, when I was about 8 years old. I've always loved Christmas, ever since I was able to understand the word Christmas. Even the name sounds festive. I'd grown up with every story and song and good old Saint Nick and the warm holiday imaginable. And in short, one day I decided that I would see him for myself, as most kids with the same upbringing often considered. I prepared for at least a week, navigating around potential landmines like parents being awake, being caught by the jolly fat man himself, or even just leaving evidence that I ever was there. I decided that I'd venture downstairs at 3 a.m., armed with a blanket and some black coffee to keep me awake, although I couldn't stand the bitter taste and often found myself wanting to regurgitate every time I took a sip. When the day finally came, oddly enough, I found myself hearing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, playing just about everywhere for just about as long as I could stand. I heard the lines, "He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake.
You fucking pervert.
He knows if you've been bad or good." Over and over again. But I guess something just didn't click. And I really wish it had. I really, really wish it had.
He's gonna fucking wish he never tried looking at me while I was naked. He's gonna lose his fucking teeth.
Because that night, I saw something I desperately wish I could unsee. Even now, hearing the sound of a sleigh bell, I reflexively recoil as if I expect something deadly to appear consecutively. The air that night was stiff and chilly. It was coming down violently outside my window, and every step I took down the stairs revived my pulse with a renewed sense of dread, and both the dread of being caught and the dread that you feel descending any flight of creaking stairs, the dread you feel when it startles you, the sudden and yet drawn-out sound that for a split second you might mistake for a human cry. And yet I continued down the stairs until I reached the place I would be hiding, a small nook between the wall in the living room, the sofa, and the radiator from which I had anticipated being able to discreetly witness Santa's arrival. So, I waited there. And I waited. And I waited. It must have been through at least my second shot of black coffee, certain that I had been there for at least 2 hours, when I glanced at the time, and to my horror, not 1 minute had passed. Not one! It was still 3 a.m.
No!
I thought certainly that the clock must have been wrong, and certainly, yes, surely that clock was broken. I had literally been counting seconds upon minutes, waiting for anything to happen. I had almost convinced myself that time had passed and the clock was stuck for whatever reason. I had almost been successful in calming myself down when I noticed the wind had stopped. The wailing sound of the wind, which resembled a human scream and the occasional knock of an angry gust on any of the closed windows, had completely halted. It was silent. Completely silent. So silent, in fact, that all I could hear was the sound of my shaking breath. A silence so loud that it accentuated the darkness. Every shadow, every dark corner seemed to reach for me at once, as if trying to swallow me up too, and all I could hear was my own increasingly struggled breathing. And I stayed like that until I heard it.
Ah!
Something which shattered the silence, once more breaking the comfort I had settled into and cutting through me like a jagged end of a cold knife. It was a jingle. A soft, rhythmic chime set to the slightly crooked gait that sounded more like someone dragging themselves around by their elbows than like walking. And my first thought when I heard the unmistakable chime of the sleigh bells was that Santa was finally here. But as the sound grew closer, I noticed it was accompanied by soft whimpering, a sound which sounded close enough to human to be recognizable, but inhuman enough for me to be unable to tell how old the voice was, or how feminine or masculine it was. My pulse quickened anew. This wasn't Santa. With each dragging step, the sleigh bells only grew louder, and the whimpering became more clear. Z's, when, even.
Heparin.
It sounded even less human than the whimpering had. The speech was broken up, distorted. That thing spoke as if it was literally choking on its own lung. I could relate to that sometimes. I get a little coughed up. Step, chime. The darkness was swallowing me up once more, eating away at my sanity, and I found it difficult to breathe. It was getting closer, and the crooked melody of the sleigh bells only grew louder. I held my breath between every pause, for every step, every agonizing second before I heard the next chime. He knows it when you are awake. Step, chime. He knows if you've been bad or good. It was close. So close. I didn't know where it was, but it was so close. I could feel the air begging to suffocate me, each chime stealing my next breath more violently than the last. I could almost make out what it was saying now. Its voice was so grossly distorted, it sounded like an animal trying to speak while choking on its own blood. Creak, chime. And with that, I saw it. It finally came into view, and it stared straight at me. And more violently than ever, I fought to keep the coffee and my dinner down.
Not MakRalston.
Skin was stretched tightly over its face, gray and leathery, with its mouth twisted into a sinister smile, or as close to a smile as it could be called. There was a hole in its lower jaw from which I saw its tongue hanging with dried blood clinging to the lining of the cavity, and its beard, sparse white hair, barely clinging to its chin. From its torso all the way to its neck, the bells were wrapped around it to the point where if the creature so much as moved its head the wrong way, it might have accidentally garroted itself. I tried to scream, I tried to move, but the silence had already devoured my cry, and the darkness already crushed my limbs. I could only watch as the creature slowly hobbled towards me, each sleigh bell ring engraving itself into my memory as its distorted grimace widened, causing a flow of fresh, warm blood to flow from the cavity in its face. Good girls shouldn't be up at this hour. Time suddenly resumed, and in a moment, with some inhuman strength, the creature had torn me from my nook and thrown my limp, petrified body into a wall. The doors and the windows clattered with the angry gusts of wind and snow. Billowed in from the window, the creature must have entered, chilling my body. I tried to look up, I tried to breathe, but before I could try to cry out again, a chain of sleigh bells was wrapped around my neck. The freezing metal dug into my skin and choked me. My eyes began to roll to the back of my head as I frantically grabbed at them in the darkness. And God, the ringing! I could hear them. They chimed as they cut off my air, darkened my vision, intermingled with my choking and sobbing. The bells almost sounded like screaming, and the screaming of the bells, that which sounded like other children all crying out together to make the bell sound, before it all faded to cold, unconscious silence was the last thing I heard. I awoke upon the cold floor with half a pitcher of coffee clutched tightly in one hand and the blanket wrapped around me. I exhaled quietly, relieved that it had all been a dream, and proceeded with my day as normal. I almost convinced myself it had never happened. That is, until my mother asked me where that bruise on my neck came from. And outside, I heard a single sleigh bell ring in the darkness of the early winter morning. Thank you.
What'd you think?
It was okay. It was fun. It's so creepypasta to do something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, it's a monster wrapped in bells. It's like a big Christmas slime.
Yeah.
Like a big Christmas gimp.
Like a little
Christmas cuck.
Let me pull on my gelatinous cube. Alright, love. Did you know
Do you need anything?
I'm Jason Statham and I'm ready to fucking party?
If there's a goddamn megalodon.
There's a goddamn
If
megalodon
there's a
here.
goddamn megalodon in this next story.
I'm gonna put one in.
I'm gonna pull out my big fucking knife.
And I'm gonna give myself a nice little prostate examination. Having a little fish and chips minge party. Alright. The naughty list.
This is also from Creepypasta. All of the stories are from Creepypasta. Creepypasta is the only place you can find Christmas stories.
Unlimited breadsticks and soup.
Because when you're there,
You're Jason Statham.
you're family.
12 seems to be the age when kids start putting the heart... Off to a bad start. Okay. Round two.
You were fine. You were fine.
12 seems to be the age when kids start putting the heat on their parents about the truth behind Santa.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
Can I also commend you on how you read that last story?
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
The Carolers.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
That was good. Can I say something?
Sure.
I don't think you felt you creeped me out reading something like that since, like, Pen Pal.
Pen Pal was fun.
Pen Pal was tough, but Pen Pal was good. No, that's my friend. That's
Oh.
That's
That's
my
right.
friend dared me to ruin his life. Or my friend dared me to ruin his life, or I dared my friend to ruin my life, something like that. Yeah, David King.
Yes.
David King.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times. Alright. 12 seems to be the age when kids start putting the heat on their parents about the truth behind Santa.
I would put it a little earlier. I'd say like 10 or 8.
Or 69. I was certainly no exception to this rule. How were Santa's elves able to make that video game I wanted in their workshop? I thought Nintendo owned Mario.
Smart kid.
Or how about the ever infamous visiting every house in one night question? Did the Jolly Man own some kind of time extending device?
There you go.
Or perhaps the most obvious question of all, how could he have lived for this long? Clearly never fucking saw Santa Claus Disney movies with Tim Allen.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
I feel like my 2 must-watches every year for Christmas is Tim Allen Santa Claus and Jingle All the Way.
Nice.
I would even throw Four Christmases in there because that one just makes me laugh. That one's just really fucking funny. I like Vince Vaughn. And that's just a funny movie about how fucking awful Christmas is sometimes.
For me, it's all the Home Alones.
That's fair. I mean, I've been there.
And Krampus.
Oh, Krampus is good. I don't watch that nearly as much as I should. I don't think about it when Christmas comes around. I think it's been a while since a Christmas horror movie. It's a Krampus.
Has been that good.
Christmas is the last one because I don't. They've been more action related Christmas movies recently, like that one that's coming out with The Rock and Chris Evans, Captain America.
Just too much.
J.K. Simmons playing Santa Claus. It's pretty funny action. Anyway.
A lot of people say he trains apprentices who take his place every few decades. Others claim he's just immortal. As for everything else, magic seemed to be the universal lie everyone had agreed on. Whatever the case, I just went with the conclusion that it was my parents' doing. Of course, they deny it and claim ignorance if I confronted them, but it wasn't enough to dissuade my beliefs. So one Christmas Eve, when I couldn't sleep, as these questions danced among my dreams of sugar cereals and new games,
Hell yeah, dude.
I decided to investigate the noises coming from my living room. This time, surely, I would catch my dad or mom in the act of sewing presents under the tree. At least then they'd let me in on the truth. But as I entered the living room, I saw a man before me that I did not recognize. He was dressed in a red and white with a slightly overweight body, and he wore a stringy fake white beard. His hair, or what remained of it, was graying about the edges of his classic Santa hat, and his eyes were wide with fright as he dropped a present under the tree. Being the intuitive youth I was, I came to one of two conclusions. Either this was a home invader stealing my family's gifts, or the real Santa. I opened my mouth to scream, but the man rushed towards me and covered my mouth. "Shh, shh," he said, putting a finger to his mouth, trying to smile. Tears began to roll down my cheeks. I was petrified of him. Then slowly he took back his hand and extended it towards me. "It's all right, little one. You know who I am, right?" I nodded, not shaking his hand back. The trembling man nodded as well, then grabbed an empty sack lying on the floor and gestured to the tree. "Look, see, I brought gifts. Now run along to bed, or I might have to put you on the naughty list."
Oh, shit.
He started drifting towards the deeper, hearty voice stereotypically associated with Kris Kringle, but I wasn't fooled. Regardless, I wiped my eyes and began to step back from the living room, trying to create some distance between me and the stranger. The man simply watched, wiped his brow, and proceeded to approach the fireplace. I stopped and observed, confused as how he was going to leave my house, but a blast of green flames erupted from the chimney, and the man fell back on the floor. I couldn't see his face, but I'm certain it was twisted in fear like my own. A massive bony hand spawned from the fire, and the arm that followed was draped in raggedy fur. Then another arm, and then the skull of some wild creature with two large horns followed, nearly as large as the fireplace itself. The bones popped and snapped as it slammed its hands onto the floor. The entire monster was engulfed in flame, yet it didn't seem to burn anything in the house.
"Eddie,"
the monster declared, speaking to what I guessed to be the man on the floor. I don't remember how I voiced.
You're like an old man.
No, that was Santa.
Yeah, this is Santa.
That's Santa?
Yeah.
Oh. Eddie shouted back. So this is Eddie's voice.
It's revealing to us that the old man is named Eddie. It's not Santa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, no! Eddie shouted back. "I did my part, see? 10,000 houses, just like you said, right? 10,000. I did my part.
And yet, you allowed a human child to see you. You know the rules.
Look, I've learned my lesson. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Just let me go, please. I delivered all the...
Let you go? Did you let that woman go, Eddie?
I have a sneeze coming. You can go.
I don't seem to recall you letting her go. This was your second chance, and you've wasted it.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Eddie whispered. I could make it out of his quaking figure being overshadowed by some creature of the fireplace. The next sound heard was a crunch with a soft beginning and snapping finish. I jumped as the sound repeated a few times, finally letting out a shaky breath. I prayed in my head that it wasn't what I thought. But when the creature reared its head towards me, I saw the red and white pants hanging from its mouth as it chewed on Eddie's corpse. Oh, I'm crouching. Then watched it slurp up his leg strands like spaghetti. I covered my eyes and tried to tell myself that it wasn't real. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. After a quick minute, I peeked between my fingers to see the monster staring back at me from the fireplace. The pace of my breathing grew quicker and sharper, my eyes unable to escape from the grasp of those empty sockets.
Now, run off back to bed, little one, or else I might put you on the naughty list.
I'm still being chopped here. Can you get me out of this mouth? My legs finally found the strength to leave, and I sprinted from my parents' room, diving into the sheets with them. There wasn't a trace of the events of that night when my family went down to the tree the next morning. There was even a little note next to an empty glass and a half-eaten cookie on the table. Have a Merry Christmas, S. Claus. As much as I tried to take in the warmth, comforting atmosphere that came with Christmas Day, I couldn't stop watching the fireplace, terrified that monster would return. At the least, now I knew the truth about Santa Claus. Oh, my name is Santa Claus.
It's just 10,000 old assholes.
Oh,
all doing 10,000 houses.
Oh, come sit on my lap. You want to see Santa's bag of 10,000 assholes?
Yes.
Well, you're in luck, because I got it right here.
Yes.
Creepypasta is titled, I'm an old man and it's Christmas.
Yep.
I'm an old man and it's Christmas. The end. I really like that creepypasta, Billy.
That's good.
Who's got boots and a suit of red? Santa's got boots and a suit of red. Get great.
I don't know what you're doing over there.
That beard that's white must be Santa. Must be Santa. Must be Santa Claus.
Are you gonna get us copyrighted?
What?
Are you gonna get us copyrighted?
Who's got tits? And
yep.
Who's got tits perky big and white? Santa's got tits perky big and white. Best in sight. Get some head or you're dead.
What is it with the head? Why do you keep going to the head?
Because it's funny. Can't get some head.
Why?
Reindeer sled must be Santa. It's Christmas. Oh, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Oh, who's at the door?
For the love of God.
Who's at the door? Hello. Medea, you came on such short notice. Thank you so much. I'd do anything for you. My lord. Medea, you gotta help us save Christmas. You've done 2 Christmas movies, right?
Oh my God.
I have. And they were lots of fun. How do we save Christmas, Medea? Well, you gotta get out and vote on November 8th. Medea makes a really good point. You gotta get out and vote.
Why did you go political?
You gotta
with
get out
this?
and vote. And if you're like me, and you are either gay or love gay people, and you love women's rights, you gotta vote for Kamala. Gotta go D. Gotta go D.
I agree, but don't bring politics into this.
Okay, well, then Medea will say it.
We have listeners who don't live in our country. They don't give a fuck about it.
Well, you know what? Medea said,
maybe they do. I don't know.
hey, you gotta care about your beer.
Yeah. Agreed.
Medea.
Exactly what you said.
Medea, that was...
Just now.
That was so good. I gotta go make a Diary of a Mad Black Woman 69. Wow, you're already on that many?
Do you actually know that Tyler Perry is the most paid actor in Hollywood?
No.
He's worth like $1 billion.
I believe it.
He's even more than like Tom Cruise. Robert Downey Jr. He's worth more than that. Technically speaking. How crazy is that?
Well, bye-bye, Medea. I hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah, seriously. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Bears. I can't wait to come back. Bear.
Wonderful seeing you.
Hello.
No.
No.
You could
Goodbye.
not. You're gone.
Goodbye.
All right, I'm gonna read a story now. It's not very long, so we're almost done.
Well, listen. We always have to say hi to Medea when she stops by.
We really don't.
Cause she texted me.
We don't.
She texted me.
Did she? What did she text you?
That Sylvester Stallone has been seen in our local area looking for hot MILFs. He might stop by for the exit show. He might. That's all.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, you don't? Well,
nah,
you can fucking text him then.
All right. I'm gonna read now.
What's it called?
The Strange Christmas Game.
Oh, that's what we play with.
Game.
That's what we play when Uncle
That's
wants to bounce him on the knee.
Hide the elf on the shelf.
Play bouncy pony.
Yes. What present is in my box? Found in my lap.
Oh.
Strange Christmas Game from Creepypasta. It was the middle of November when we arrived at Martingale, and found the place anything but romantic or pleasant. The walks were wet and sodden, the trees were leafless, there were no flowers save a few late pink roses blooming in the garden. It had been a wet season, and the place looked miserable. Claire would not ask Alice down to keep her company in the winter months as she had intended, and for myself the Cronsons were still absent in New Norfolk, where they meant to spend Christmas with old Mrs. Cranson, now recovered. Although, altogether, Martingale seemed dreary enough, and the ghost stories we had laughed at while sunshine flooded the room became less unreal when we had nothing but blazing fires and wax candles to dispel the gloom. They become more real also when servant after servant left us to seek situations elsewhere, when quote-unquote noises grew frequent in the house, when we ourselves, Claire and I, with our own ears, heard the tramp, the banging, the chattering which had been described to us. My dear reader, you doubtless are free from superstitious fancies. You pooh-pooh the existence of ghosts, and only wish you could find a haunted house in which to spend the night, which is all very brave and praiseworthy. But wait till you are left in a dreary, desolate old country mansion, filled with the most unaccountable sounds, without a servant, with none save an old caretaker and his wife, who, living at the extremest end of the building, heard nothing of the tramp, tramp, bang, bang going on at all hours of the night.
Tramp bang into the room.
At first I imagined the noises were produced by some evil-disposed persons who wished for purposes of their own to keep the house uninhabited, but by degrees Claire and I came to the conclusion that the visitation must be supernatural, and Martingale, by consequence, untenable. Still being practical people, unlike our predecessors, not having money to live where and how we liked, we decided to watch and see whether we could trace any human influence in the matter. If not, it was agreed we were to pull down the right wing of the house and the principal staircase. For nights and nights we sat up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Claire engaged in needlework, I reading, with a revolver lying on the table beside me. But nothing. Neither sound nor appearance rewarded our vigil. This confirmed my first ideas that the sounds were not supernatural, but just to test the matter, I determined on Christmas Eve, the anniversary of Mr. Jeremy Lester's disappearance, to keep watch myself in the red bed chamber. Even to Claire I never mentioned my intention. About 10, tired out with our previous vigils, we each retired to rest. Somewhat ostentatiously, perhaps, I noisily shut the door of my own room, and when I opened it half an hour afterwards, how a mouse could have pursued its way along the corridor with greater silence and caution than myself. Quiet in the dark, I sat in the red room. For over an hour I might as well have been in my grave for anything I could see in the apartment. But at the end of that time the moon rose, and cast strange lights across the floor and upon the wall of the haunted chamber. Hitherto I kept my watch opposite the window. Now I changed my place to a corner near the door, where I was shaded from observation by the heavy hangings of the bed and an antique wardrobe. Still I sat on, but still no sound broke the silence. I was weary with many nights watching, and tired of my solitary vigil. I dropped at least into a slumber, from which I awakened by hearing the door softly open. "John," said my sister, almost in a whisper. "John, are you here?" "Yes, Claire," I answered. "But what are you doing up at this hour?" "Come downstairs," she replied. "They are in the oak parlor." I did not need any explanation as to whom she meant, but crept downstairs after her, warned by an uplifted hand of the necessity for silence and caution. By the open door of the oak parlor, she paused, and we both looked in. There was the room we left in darkness overnight, with a bright wood fire blazing on the hearth, candles on the chimney-piece, the small table pulled out from its accustomed corner, and 2 men seated beside it, playing cribbage. We could see the face of the younger player. It was that of a man about 25, of a man who had lived hard and wickedly, who had wasted his substance and his health, who had been, while in the flesh, Jeremy Lester. It would be difficult for me to say how I knew this, how in a moment I identified the features of the player with those of the man who had been missing for 41 years that very night. He was dressed in the costume of a bygone period. His hair was powdered, and round his wrists there were ruffles of lace. He looked like one who, have come from some great party, had sat down after her return home to play cards with an intimate friend. On his little finger there sparkled a ring. In the front of his shirt there gleamed a valuable diamond. There were diamond buckles in his shoes, and according to the fashion at the time, he wore knee breeches and silk stockings, which showed off advantageously the shape of a remarkably good leg and ankle.
Ooh!
He sat opposite the door, but never once lifted his eyes to it. His attention seemed concentrated on the cards. For a time there was utter silence in the room, broken only by momentous counting of the game. In the doorway we stood holding our breath, terrified and yet fascinated by the scene which was being acted before us. The ashes dropped on the hearth softly like snow. We could hear the rustle of the cards as they were dealt out and fell upon the table. We listened to the count. 15, 2, 15, 4, and so forth. But there was no other word spoken till at length the player, whose face we could not see, exclaimed, "I win. The game is mine." Then his opponent took up the cards, sorted them over negligently in his hand, put them close together, and flung the whole pack in the guest's face, exclaiming, "Cheat! Liar! Take that!" There was a bustle and confusion, a fighting over the chairs, and a fierce gesticulation, and such a noise of passionate voices mingling, that we could not hear a sentence which was uttered. All at once, however, Jeremy Lester strode out of the room in so great a hurry that he almost touched us where we stood. Out of the room, and tramp, tramp, tramp up the staircase to the Red Room, whence he descended in a few minutes with a couple of rapiers under his arm. When he re-entered the room, he gave, as it seemed to us, the other man his choice of weapon. Then he flung open the window, and after ceremoniously giving place for his opponent to pass out first, he walked forth into the night air, Claire and I following. We went through the garden, down a narrow winding walk to a smooth piece of turf, sheltered on the north by a plantation of young fir trees. It was a bright moonlit night by this time, and we could distinctly see Jeremy Lester measuring off the ground. "When you say 3, he said at last, to the man whose back was still toward us. They had drawn lots for the ground, and the lot had fallen against Mr. Lester. He stood thus, with the moonbeams falling upon him, and a handsome fellow I would never desire to behold. 1, began the other. 2, and before our kinsman had the slightest suspicion of his design, he was upon him, and his rapier through Jeremy Lester's breast. At the sight of that cowardly treachery, Claire screamed aloud. In a moment the combatants had disappeared. The moon was obscured behind a cloud, and we were standing in the shadow of a fir plantation, shivering with cold and terror. But we knew at last what had become of the late owner of Martingale, that he had fallen, not in a fair fight, but foully murdered by a false friend. When late on Christmas morning I awoke, it was to see white world, to behold the ground and trees and shrubs all laden and covered with snow. There was snow everywhere, such snow no person could remember having fallen for 41 years. It was on just such a Christmas as that Mr. Jeremy disappeared, remarked the old sexton to the sister who had insisted on dragging me through the snow to church, whereupon Claire fainted away and was carried into the vestry, where I made a full confession to the vicar of all we beheld the previous night. At first that worthy individual rather inclined to treat the matter lightly, but when, a fortnight after, the snow melted away and the fir plantation came to be examined, he confessed there might be more things in heaven and earth than his limited philosophy had dreamed of. In a dear space just within the plantation, Jeremy Lester's body was found. We knew it by the ring, and the diamond buckles, and the sparkling breastpin, and Mr. Cronson, who in capacity as magistrate came over to inspect these relics, were visibly perturbed at my narrative. "Pray, Mr. Lester, did you in your dream see the face of the gentleman, your kinsman's opponent?" "No," I answered. "He sat and stood with his back to us at all times." "There is nothing more, of course, to be done in the matter," observed Mr. Cronson. "Nothing," I replied. And there the affair would doubtless have terminated, but that a few days afterwards, when we were dining at Cronson Park, Claire all of a sudden dropped the glass of water she was carrying to her lips and exclaimed, "Look, John, there he is!" rose from her seat, and with a face as white as the tablecloth, pointed to the portrait hanging on the wall. "I saw him for an instant when he turned his head towards the door as Jeremy Lester left it," she explained. "That is he." Of what followed after the identification I have only the vaguest recollection. Servants rushed hither and thither. Miss Cronson dropped off her chair into hysterics. The young ladies gathered round their mamma, Mr. Cronson trembling like one in an ague fit, attempting some kind of explanation, while Claire kept praying to be taken away. Only to be taken away. I took her away, not merely from Cronson Park, but from Martingale. And before we left the latter place, however, I had an interview with Mr. Cronson, who said the portrait Claire had identified was that of his wife's father, the last person who saw Jeremy Lester alive. He's an old man now, finished Mr. Cronson, a man of over 80, who has confessed everything to me. You won't bring further sorrow and disgrace upon us by making this matter public? I promised him I would keep my silence, but the story gradually oozed out, and the Cronsons left the country. My sister never returned to Martingale. She married and is living in London, though I assume there are no strange noises in the house. She will not visit Bedfordshire, where the little girl she wanted me so long ago to think of seriously is now my wife and the mother of my children. That was like a classic little Christmas tale. You probably fell asleep, didn't you?
No.
Classic little Christmas story.
I couldn't follow anything.
Christmas story. Well, it was kind of like an old school, like Christmas Carol, like Scrooge seeing ghosts type of thing.
Oh, okay.
These two kids, as they were growing up, they saw ghosts playing in their parlor, and it turned out to be the old master of the house. He got betrayed by their neighbor's master of the house some odd, like, 60 years ago. And the guy got away with murder, but when the kids saw the ghosts reenact how the murder happened, they called the dude's bluff, and they found the body in the field.
When you first said Martindale, all I could think about was Margot Martindale, and then that's where my mind was the whole time.
That's good. Thank you.
That's good, Scrimshaw. Okay!
We're done.
Well, I mean, listen.
I'm listening.
How'd you feel about today?
That edible was a lot more potent than I thought it was going to be. Maybe, I guess, it's just like the last time I did them, I was so like focused, because I was like, oh fuck, I'm in Disneyland, I need to go ride things.
Yeah.
And that kind of like centered me, where like sitting on a couch just kind of high talking for like 3 hours, like, just let me ramble the fuck on. There was one point, like, kind of in the middle, when we were talking, where I kind of got a little angsty. You know, I got a little antsy.
About?
No, just the kind of out-of-body feeling of a high sometimes, where you can't control yourself. I know you know what I'm saying, because you kind of expressed that when you were laughing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to this... It's funny, but I'm sure you feel anxious in the time that it's happening. But you get into this, like, laughing fit where you can't use words. It happens all the time.
No.
With you and THC, like, it's been proven that you and THC just becomes a giggly fucking mess. It's funny. I mean, it's better.
Don't wear it out.
It's funny. It's better than, you know, some negative fucking experience, as long as you don't, like, regret it.
That's a mystery.
As long as you don't hate it.
No.
Okay, well, you know.
No.
I always think doing any sort of edible is just kind of, you got your ups, you got your downs, because you're getting hit in, like, different waves.
I rarely get hit with ups anymore. I usually just do the ones that make me sleepy.
How do you feel right now? Do you feel sleepy?
I'm struggling to keep my eyes open, yes.
I think I took the energy one. I think I took the pineapple one.
Do you have energy?
I'm not tired, and I should be. I certainly should be. My favorite story this episode was probably yours, the Carolers.
Yeah,
I think the Carolers. I think it was fun. It was really creepy. You read it really well. I just think it's unlike anything we've read on the show before, and I like that, you know, I can still say that after 12 fucking episodes.
Yeah, right.
Again, our, our 8-year anniversary just passed over in November, which right now hasn't happened yet, but by the time this episode comes out, we will have celebrated our 8-year anniversary. Yeah, this show is gonna get to like 10 fucking years, but then it's gonna end. So like, look forward to 10 fucking years, because we dedicated 10 fucking years to this.
And then we're gonna have a 69 party.
I don't think so. I thought you were gonna say something funny like, and then we're gonna do a Broadway show.
How about you look at our creepy podcast full of spaghetti? I like to shake my tits and break down in my ass and smack my belly. Hey, it's been a pasta Lotsa.
It certainly has, Frowns.
And if you're vegetarian, we're gonna go ahead with a classic staple. You gotta make and toss up your Italian hands. You gotta make a pepperoni weenie. Yeah!